What do you see from their defensive front?
I mean, their defensive front is obviously extremely good. Those guys move at high, like at an elite level for sure. You see all those guys that are big bodies, but the twitchiness that they come and play with, they're physical. They understand the physicality of the game and the speed of it. But I do know that our front is excelled in that position. Physicality is something that Boise State's built on. And so those guys will get after it and have a good week of practice to prepare for that.
I assume you saw what happened with the SMU game with 2 pick sixes, and you've been secure with the ball all year, but just how much do you hammer home just how careful you have to be with the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like something I'm got to go into the game thinking, I can't throw 3 interceptions or else we're going to get blown out. But no, it's my process, and like you've mentioned, it's something that I feel like I've done well all year, and so why would I change that now in the position we're in? I know what's got me here is trusting my teammates to make plays for me, and I'm not going to have to be the superhero, so relying on to what's got me here, because that's obviously worked, and try not to be a superhero and just do my job every play.
How do you feel just with the spotlight? I assume this is probably the biggest game of your life to date, right?
Yeah, this is by far the biggest game I've ever played in, but I know it's I've caught myself a lot of times just positive thoughts of it's just another game to me. Like I said, you see all these guys that kind of get amped up, and I think you saw that in the first round of the playoffs is different guys got completely amped up to what they're not built to be. And so understanding that and kind of learning from that first round of the playoffs was a big deal for me. Obviously, I can look at that and just know that I can do my job and play the way I need to.
You talked about, even like when we talked to you back in August, just about that chip on your shoulder is always there, and that's kind of how you play with. As a team, I mean, not a lot of folks are giving you much of a chance in this game, it seems like, nationally. Are you guys kind of thriving off that underdog role?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, Matt just kind of talked about it. That's what Boise State has essentially been built on. It's crazy, man. I think it's like 11-point underdog kind of thing. And, yeah, they're good. They're really good. But also I know the Boise State Broncos are really good, and the competition level is going to be extremely high with what's at stake. And I got a lot of trust in these guys in this building.
I don't know if disrespectful is the right word, but when you do see that point spread and you see a lot of people saying, hope we don't get more blowouts in round 2 with the matchups now and all this kind of stuff based on how good you think you are and what you've put on paper this year in terms of your record and what you've done, how do you kind of react to the lack of people giving you guys a chance in this game?
Yeah, I think I kind of essentially knew that was going to come with the position that we were going to be in. A lot of people like to count this group of 5 out, and to me we're a different level of group of 5. Our only loss is to the number 1 ranked team in the country that's undefeated, and so I know, and everyone in this building knows what we can bring to a football game and the level of football that we play at, and so I know everyone in this building is essentially going to be ready. I know they will.
Penn State's numbers against the run really good. I think they've allowed 1 100-yard game all season. When you look at the teams you faced in the conference leading up to this, what do they do differently that makes them so stout versus some of the other teams you faced?
Yeah, honestly, I think when you look at Penn State compared to some of the conference games that we faced, it basically just comes down to the key point of tackling. Those guys can make one-on-one tackles when essentially other places couldn't. It's not like they're doing anything schematically that's drastically different, but they're all athletes over there, and so they're a very well-coached defense. They're in the right spot most of the time, and so, comparative to other teams that we've played, you kind of catch those guys out of position when Penn State really is not, and even when they are, they have the athletic ability to kind of make up for the loss of position.
When was the first time that Dirk Cutter maybe expressed you had confidence in what you can do? Because I heard you might even go back to even your true freshman year here.
Yeah, my true freshman year, I remember, I think it was Nevada. I know I ended up playing that game, but I think that was the first game he kind of told me, hey, you're going to be our backup quarterback. And I kind of knew, we had a relationship to where he could be honest and hey, I know you're in this spot, and kind of run away from it. But as terms of this year, I think it comes down to fall camp. Obviously, early in camp, it was kind of a little bit of a struggle. There was those days I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But he came and grabbed me and was just he has all the confidence in the world in me. And hearing that from a guy with the knowledge and experience that he has obviously stuck with me. And so understanding that is kind of what strives me. And I know he trusts me, and at the same time, I trust him to amounts I don't know if I've trusted people before.
Speaking of trust, how much trust do you have in Cage Casey?
Oh, I mean, that's one thing that people are always like asking, like, especially this game, those guys, those defensive ends that are really good. We got the best tackle in college football, and I think he does an awesome job of preparing and physically understanding what guys are going to do and what they're going to bring to the table. And it's going to be kind of fun for him to go up against this opponent of a defensive line because those guys are extremely talented, but so is Cage.
Like just like you said with Dirk, the experience he has and everything he's done. Is there something about him that stands out that he does different that you don't really see in other coaches that might just be because of his years of experience?
No, I wouldn't say there's something that extremely stands out, but it's just a simplicity that I think for me, and it's helped me, of what he teaches. Obviously, he's taught it for so long. He understands where the ball's going to go on certain looks and certain stuff like that. And so, like, being taught in a simple way has helped me immensely. And that's one thing that I can mention. There's obviously several things that he brings to me and, like, helps me, but that is one thing for sure that I know helps me.
I mean, you've had a number of different offensive coordinators, even your somewhat short time of being here, but, like, how crazy is it that most of it has now been with Dirk Cutter?
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, like you said, it is the most, but it's a blessing for sure, and I think that's kind of helped. A big part of the quarterback to coordinator relationship is what people kind of miss out on, and so being able to have that relationship with Coach Cutter where I could go say certain things to him and he could say certain things to me to where it's putting our offense in the best position is a huge deal.
Speaking of crazy, I mean, there's only 3 quarterbacks in the history of the school that have started in this game, in the Fiesta Bowl. To be number 4, and then just to hopefully be the 4th to win it, I guess. Just, you're etching your name into the history of this program here. I mean, and it's a pretty strong history. What's this mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned the biggest part of it. The tradition of quarterback here itself is elite, and then you add for the Fiesta Bowl a whole nother category is also elite. And so being able to be in this position is just such a blessing. I know I'm going to look back on this 30, 40 years from now and just honestly still be in disbelief that I'm in the position I am, and I'm so grateful for it.
What are you most proud of what you've been able to accomplish individually for you this year, from being a first-time full season starter or whatever? Like, what's like the thing that you look back on and you did right?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've never tried to sell myself short of hard work, and that's something that I know I can look back on. And even there's times where if I'm struggling with certain things, I look back to those moments in the summer of myself, of what I did with certain guys to kind of get myself better. And that's where I'm proud of myself because I know I've came a long way in the way I prepare in what I do to try and put myself in a good position, not just for myself, but for the team.
Maddux, like you said, you'll be looking back 30, 40 years, this week, this Fiesta Bowl. I'd love to be sitting here, I guess, time next year doing the same deal. But if not, just what are you doing to kind of take all this in? Are you just going by day, or how are you dealing with all this?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just the topic of embracing what's kind of here. I will say I wish that we could just be in Arizona right now playing tomorrow just because I want to be there, and it's something that, like, I was just home with my family at Christmas, and I was stoked to be back in Boise because of what's ahead of it. And a lot of people, I mean, previous years we've talked about how after the bowl game we're so excited to go home. But I know I want to be playing deep into January just because of the love that I have for this team. And I know some people might want to say this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I know the guys that are in this building, and we're just going to continue to work and get better as a program and stuff. So like you said, 30, 40 years from now, it's something I'm going to look back on and just be extremely blessed and know I was spoiled to be in that situation.
How does the tournament, style to this change things too, where it's not it may not be your last game, and then just with the bracket and seeing who wins and advances and just knowing that if you win, there's another opportunity. Like, how does that change things?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of just mentioned, it's one of those things that bowl games, like, you want to win a bowl game after you're done winning. You want to win a bowl game. That's part of a goal here. But something you're looking for after the bowl game is going home because you don't get to see them. But I know I don't think anyone in this building has been excited to go home January 1st. I know everyone is looking forward to playing football as long as they can, and that's the glorious part of the landscape now is just keep winning. It's simple. Just keep winning, and you'll play football as long as you possibly can until the season's over.
Has there been a moment, I don't know if it's like the patch you saw in your jersey hanging in your locker, or maybe one of the playoff logos on a hat or something, but has there been a moment where this has kind of hit you yet? Or?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things that when we were sitting here on that selection Sunday, and expectations of what we were going to be in, obviously, but seeing it really hit me of like, oh my goodness, like we just talked about the quarterbacks, and I'm in that position where this is something not very many people get to do, and it's come to real life. So it is awesome, and that was definitely one moment that it hit me with reality for sure.
To advance, is there something you think the offense needs to especially do well?
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively, I know we play to our strengths already, and I know there's certain guys that are on that whole page of playing to our strengths. And so I don't think we try and do something that's extremely out of the ordinary of being a superhero. I know I just talked about it for myself, but it goes as a full offense of the pure trust that we've built all year long, understanding that it's good enough to get us where we need to go and win a national championship.
What'd you do over Christmas? How much time did you appreciate the time you said you're looking forward to getting back, but how much do you appreciate a moment away here?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. And like I got to talk to a lot of people back home, and just Christmas is a big deal for me. And just being around my family is essentially a big deal. And so that was really it, full of family time, playing games. But there wasn't really a moment that I was kind of like away from Boise and football, which is something I've never really caught myself in that. But I know my seriousness that I've kind of prepared for all year is almost 10 times more now, essentially just what's at stake.
I kind of hit on it, but is it cool going back home? And I'm assuming like everybody's pretty excited to talk to you about you guys playing in the college football playoff and things like that.
Yeah, it is extremely cool, and I mean, everyone talks about it. Like, I could go to different family events and everyone will find a time to talk about it, which is awesome. And I mean, I had a good conversation with my dad about it. It's just embracing the fact that I'm in this position, because if I'm never in this position again, I'll regret kind of shying away from even talking about it. So it is cool to see family, friends, and support back home that are cheering on just as much as Bronco Nation does.
Oh, it's fun to see.
All right, Woostro, we'll start with you.
Maddux, just when you came into Boise State 3 years ago, this whole expanded college football playoff thing was just coming into fruition. You know, how much did that play a part in your mind when you came in? Like, hey, you could be in this situation here someday.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because when I was really essentially being recruited here, that was never talks. And so kind of the last year of this whole expansion and obviously the conference realignment and certain things with the college football, it's cool to be in Boise at a place I want to be, with the people I want to be around, and be able to be in the same opportunities as some people that are at bigger places essentially.
You know, your confidence has really helped this team this year. Just where does that exactly come from? You know, has Dirk Cutter helped that at all? Just kind of, I know you've always been a confident guy, but just what's the root of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think coaching staff is a big deal. The words that they say to players have a very big impact, especially when it comes to terms of success and playing good. So those guys obviously do a great job, but also just being able to sit and talk to my buddies, teammates, that instill all this confidence in me. I know it helps. Some people like to say confidence is completely built with just one person, but I know, honestly, I wouldn't be at the position I am mentally, confidently, if it wasn't for my guys.
Joe, we'll move on to you.
Appreciate the time today, Maddux. So, you said earlier that you feel Cage Casey is the best tackle in college football. For Penn State fans who might not be familiar with him, what is it about him that makes you say that, and what gives you the confidence that he can protect you against this defensive front, which not a lot of the linemen have had success against this season?
Yeah, I mean, if very many people aren't to know Cage Casey, if you're walking around Boise, downtown, you would never really be able to tell this guy's as good as he is because he will never talk about it. He's one of the most humble beings. He's quiet to a lot of people, but physically, the ability he has to do what any other tackle in the country can do is elite. What he does at a high level of play is nothing I've really ever seen before. And so that's where I kind of get my trust. And the way that he practices and prepares makes me never really have to look back on this guy and kind of be like, oh, is he doing the right thing? Just because I know he wouldn't put himself in a bad position where to fail because he's not doing the right thing. He's going to do everything that he can to be the very best he can for this team.
Cool. Devin, we'll throw it to you.
Hey Maddux, just had a question about Ashton Genty. What makes him special as a player and as a teammate, and how has his emergence kind of helped you develop your own game, being able to run play action and being able to really develop the passing game behind such a dominant runner?
Yeah, I mean, Ashton, he brings a whole nother aspect to our offense. What he does is obviously insane. No one's ever seen it. He still is the best player in college football, in my opinion, and a lot of people's. But what he does just for the team and the level that he brings of leadership is a huge deal that sets him apart. But I also know for myself, what he does as a leader is kind of makes a big difference to me for sure. I'm done talking about you, bro.
Colton, we'll throw it to you.
Yeah, to sort of piggyback off of that, is there anything about Ashton's game or anything about him as a person on the field, off the field that, because obviously people have talked about him a ton, is there anything about him that maybe has gone under the radar or an aspect of him that people should know about?
I feel like everything that people need to know about Ashton Genty, people should know about Ashton Genty. There's probably things I could say that might get him in trouble, so I'm going to keep those quiet. No, I'm just kidding. But Ash is just a good dude. The way he makes people laugh is something that is kind of – he brings a joy to the building no matter what, the mood, and then he can flip a switch and just be an elite savage.
Greg, we'll go to you.
Thanks for your time. Coach Cutter said earlier this afternoon that the time off that you guys have had scares him more than he thinks it might help you guys. As a player, what are your thoughts on that in terms of the balance of getting time off to get healthy and prepare versus the obvious fact that you haven't been on the field in a game in a few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing football every week is a big deal, and not playing for multiple weeks is obviously different. But I do know that the level of play that we've practiced or the way we've practiced is different too. I also know that a break for certain guys is a big deal. Get multiple guys healthy and back playing is huge. But I also know that our team is not going to let multiple weeks of not playing a game change the way we play football. And I know I've been able to see that through practice and through preparation of the way that guys are taking this extremely serious. And so that's not something I'm extremely worried about, but there obviously are, as a coach, some concerns that could be had. But I know our guys, and I trust our guys to be ready to go.